All right. Well, we'd like to welcome everybody to this month's audio production town hall. Glad you could join us. You can find us here talking everything from sound to gear to techniques and everything else in between. If you can't be here live with us, you can always catch us at this very same link, the archive that is. My name is Kendall Benz. I am the course director for Advanced Audio Editing Techniques, and today we are joined by two alumni of Full Sail. And since their graduation, they've been deeply involved in vocal productions. I would like to welcome Ivana Loyola. Did I do that correctly? Okay. And Ty, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Glad to have you guys here. And you guys are here to talk to us about the Vocal Loft, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
we
cool. Okay. Explain a little bit about the Vocal Loft and what you guys do there.
Yeah, of course. So I started the Vocal Loft, I would say a year back. The Vocal Loft is basically, I wanted to start a team, but also what I would call a motto, what we like to call, by artists for artists. And I wanted it to be not only vocal production based, but I wanted it to almost be like a candy shop for artists, right? So it's like we are kind of losing the art of artist development nowadays in our generation. So I was like, I would love to bring that aspect back, where we not only vocal coach, but we also teach songwriting. We kind of help the artists bring them back to originality within the artistry, to really be able to kind of ingrain them in whatever genre they want, but allow them to become an architect in that genre. So I was like, I don't see that out here too much right now. And I was like, I would love to be the start of that and kind of the basis of that. So that's kind of the synopsis for the Vocal Loft.
And that is a great thing. I remember, I'm going to show my age when I say this, but there was a time where they used to develop artists for like 2-3 years before they even brought them out. And nowadays, they just want you to have this huge following and develop yourself before they put you out.
That's right. Burn out very quickly to just spit you out, right?
Yeah. Bring back the machine, right?
Right.
There it is.
100%.
I appreciate that. So as far as that candy shop is concerned, what other kind of things you guys offer as far as vocal production?
Yes, so vocal coaching and vocal production is this, the basis, but also with me, because I'm stationed in Orlando, I like to do like in-person workshops. So I'll go to studios that I'm partnered with, and I love to bring artists in there to be able to let them see the process when it comes to writing a song, when it comes to structuring a song, when it comes to basically that communication between the artist and engineers. So it's like I said, it's like the artist development to where we are helping them become an architect vocally, but I want them to have the whole artist experience, because I kind of feel like we get gypped nowadays of it. It's kind of like you go in, spend $2,000, you get on the mic, the engineer's really not good at communicating when it comes to kind of translating to your genre, and it's like you just get in there, it might make you sound like T-Pain when you're doing a country record, and it's like you don't really get too much of anything, So I was like, what if I could bring back just being able to allow them to experience that, just the entire thing.
So it's kind of like you guys are working with the nuances and actually just help guiding people to where they need to be. Because I know when a lot of artists come into the studio for the first time, they think they know what's going to happen, but they have no idea, right? You guys had that experience before?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because we both not only work from the behind the scenes aspect, as vocal producers, as vocal coaches, but we have been the artists and we are the artists as well. So we kind of understand that perspective and, their point of view from that new experience, maybe with artists that are new to the process or artists that maybe have had that process, but they need some new guidance and they want to start over, or they just need someone who understands their vision and is able to bring that with all the nuance and the detail and the capacity that we try to do.
I can absolutely relate to all of that. Trust. All right. Let me see. So what do you guys offer as far as on the engineering side?
You say Ivana, or you?
No, you can go ahead.
Perfect. So as far as on the outside of the engineering side, I like to give a basis of, I like to do life with a lot of the artists. So we give vocal coaching, we give vocal production. So we also teach, I'm a pianist as well. Okay. So I like to also do ear training with a lot of my clients as well. I like to teach them, because it's like, singing is half the battle, but being able to hear, being able to adapt to any genre, any key, I love to, the way that I was raised in the church, I like to kind of bring that back, kind of that standard back. So we give that. We like to do like workshops when it comes to writing. So I like to sit down with the artist and say, hey, what do you like? What is your genre? What are your influences? Because as we do have versatility in a variety of genres, we also have a versatility in a variety of writing, right? So it's like there's not one way to write. There's so many different standards. There's the different way that they wrote back in the 90s in R&B as of today that they write in probably pop, that they write in alternative, they write in rock. So it's like, what is your story and how can I help you best be the vehicle to be able to enhance what you already have there?
And have you had a lot of people really gravitating towards this and using your services a lot?
By the grace of God, my first year, I had over about, I'll say about 12 to 13 people, and I was able to do 6-month contracts with them.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's really good, actually.
That's my startup. That's like no building, nothing, straight from the crib, But
12 to 13 people is nothing to scoff at. Trust me on that. I know.
It's been a variety, so I've been really blessed.
Gotcha. And on the technical side, right? Do you guys offer things like vocal tuning or vocal arrangement as far as the engineering side?
Most definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great.
Ivana, she does tuning as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do tuning. We also do have 2 people. We have an expansive amount of. We're having a team build right now, so we have an engineer, a mixing engineer, and we also have a producer as well.
Excellent. This makes me smile a lot, trust, because I really like to hear these things. Being an instructor here and seeing students who graduate and actually just branch out and really start to build things on their own, man, it's the most exciting thing for me to hear. And I know it's very exciting for our fellow students to be able to hear the same thing, to know that they can get out there and do some things just like this. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think it's really nice because in a way, we kind of reconnected far off after we graduated. We weren't even in the same class. We just met casually at the Hall of Fame, as I think I told you off camera. And we just found ourselves having similar career paths and similar interests, not only in the aspect of vocal production itself, but in the approach that we wanted to carry out our careers and our goals. And I think that's where we found like this common interest and this common mission to, collaborate with Ty's idea of the Vocal Loft and, building a team off of that.
Gotcha. I totally understand that, because finding somebody that you can actually work with, where you actually match up is not an easy task. Yeah,
definitely. And it's very interesting because Ty and I come from very different cultures. I'm from the Dominican Republic, and you're from, I keep forgetting, I'm sorry.
I'm from South Carolina. I'm from the
Exactly. So we're very different in that sense, but we share so many interests, career-wise, professional-wise, vocal-wise, in our approach, in our interpretation, in the way we carry out performance, in the way we assess others as vocal coaches, in the way we do vocal arrangements. There's a lot of affinity, and our way of thinking and our way to carry out not only our own projects, but to carry each other's projects or projects of other people is very similar. So that makes it easier for us to collaborate as a team and not only individually.
Okay, and I would imagine that the different experiences can become somewhat complementary.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. So when we first started talking about, how we were going to carry out the Vocal Loft, when Ty started out this by himself and he, started building his team, we had a lot of conversations, as I said earlier, on how we were going to able to kind of merge our experiences and the way we had approached specifically coaching and vocal production so far in a way that could blend with the soul and the base mission and objective of the Vocal Loft. So I think, and now with the team even bigger with the producer and the mixing engineer, I think all of those perspectives together make this kind of vocal hub, obviously the Vocal Loft, be way more versatile, not only in mission and in mentality, but as well in the services that we are able to offer to artists and singers and engineers as well, because we all need assistance, and this is a collaborative industry, and I've noticed this in the time that I've graduated, and in the local scene here and internationally as well. And it's all about collaboration, and it's all about finding the people that maybe they think the same as you, but they also have other perspectives that could add up and reinforce what you're trying to carry out. And I think this is a beautiful experience that we're trying to build here with the Vocal Loft, thanks to that.
Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that. So I would imagine you guys work with a lot of artists, and I would imagine that you probably have seen some of the same issues or found ways of identifying some of the same issues. What are some of those things that you guys have come across that you see a lot of, and as you look at it more, you can kind of point new people in different directions? You understand my question there a little bit?
100%. I will go off. I think the first thing that I've noticed that I also struggled with is that a lot of us we're performative, but we're not technical. And I think you need both hats to be able to. It has to, because sometimes I was just talking to someone yesterday, and I was saying that sometimes when we're just performing, and we forget the technicality that has to go in, especially if you're trying to be artists, if you're trying to emerge into being just a singer and an artist. So my biggest thing is that I find two things. I find artists who are not able to be translated as singers when it comes to being able to the technicality of singing, and then I have singers who having a tough time merging into being an artist, which is more technical, right? It's like, it's not about what you do, it's how I do it now, the placements of what I do. So I think that's been like the two things that I kind of unfolds the umbrella of everything else. It's like, if they're a singer, they sometimes might not be able to package that talent within an artistry. And now you have to teach them, like, okay, we ain't trying to sing through the whole song when we record. We have to take it one by one. We have to think about your breaths. We have to think about the placement. What is the story that what are we trying to convey here? We know you can do everything. We know you can do the key changes and everything, but what are we trying to convey here? And not everybody gonna understand what you got in the hat. So it's more so of like what I would call in both scenarios discipline for both. Now I've learned that it is more about what you do not do more than what you do. And I think within this, that's been one of the biggest things that I've noticed, and I've been teaching it, like, let's be disciplined in both areas, be an architect of music now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree totally with Ty, and I think that's part of like our approach in terms of the artist development and the craft of artist development, because we sometimes as artists think it's as straightforward as going into the booth, recording, and that's it. But the background that you need to have, not only in terms of skills, because everyone's at a different level, and not all artists are going to have that experience from the get-go or when they come to us and start working with us. It's more of a sense of understanding what you're trying to convey emotionally in terms of the performance. Like, what are you trying to say within the recording, within the performance? If you're preparing for a live show as well, what is it that you're trying to say to the audience? What do you want them to connect with when you go on that stage, or when they hear your voice singing, So that's kind of what we try to always emphasize a lot, because the emotion gets lost sometimes, and it's a little noticeable when you go into a recording and it's like, okay, I record and then I'm out because I sang the lyrics right or I hit the right notes. But it's not just that. There's an underlining, there's a message, there's an untangible thing that you can feel it, and not only as a person that works on music, but the listener too. And we take that into account a lot because it's important, and songs convey messages. They're not just an essay that you're reciting or a poem. And even poems have emotions within them. So the songs are the same thing, but musicalized. So I think it's very important for us to remind the singer and remind the artist that constantly throughout the whole process, like, hey, what are you trying to say here? It can be as bigger as the whole song or as smaller as a phrase or a word. The intention, as Ty was saying, the tone, the approach, the dynamic within the recording. And if we jump on the more technical side of it, the microphone placement, where are you singing? Where is your head at? What are you thinking when you are singing about this song? Like, what do you want your voice to sound like to kind of emphasize this specific word or this specific phrase that you're trying to say? Like, those elements and those factors are very important when recording a song and when you're trying to make something different, and that it sounds authentic, and it feels like it was born out of emotion and not just out of the technicality of wanting to record something. And that's
I find in my own personal experience working with vocals, and I told you guys I work with a lot of vocals, it's hard, very hard to teach some of those elements, but the work has to be done. I think you are making people better artists when you actually teach them those different little subtleties that, hey, I can tell that you are a little bit uneasy about that note you sang because I can hear it, right? You start to hear it after a while, and you have to present it to them as well. So I really applaud you guys for being able to teach artists that, because you're doing them a great service that they probably going to look back and say, man, I'm glad somebody pointed that out to me.
Yeah, and it's all about making a comfortable environment as well. It's not just about the technicals of do this, do that, or give feedback or give instructions. That's part of the job. But the other part, I think, and we heavily agree on this, is you have to create a comfortable environment, whether you're the vocal coach, whether you're the recording engineer, whether you are the producer that's there overlooking the session. Like, all of those factors, all of those roles need to make the artist and the singer, or even the musician, if you're recording a guitarist, a drummer, like all of those things, you need to make the person comfortable.
Absolutely.
And if they don't have that, they're not going to trust you for you to give them feedback on what they're doing, because they're always going to think, and I refer to this because I'm a singer as well. I've been in the recording booth as the singer. And if I don't feel comfortable with the person that's recording me or that's assisting me to record, because I've sometimes recorded myself, I have a home studio, and sometimes I'm the recording engineer and I'm the vocalist, and I do both things on the spot. And those are scenarios that happen. And if I don't feel comfortable either with myself or with the people that I'm working with, that's half of the battle lost, because that's going to translate on my performance and my interpretation and the way that it conveys what I'm trying to say and what's going to be left in the session. So that's super important. And, creating the right environment is not just, hey, I'm here, you're going to be okay. It's like, having proper communication, like going back and forth and trying to read the body language of the artist and how they're feeling. If you have a studio, the lighting, making sure they're attended, they have tea, they have water, talking about the song beforehand. That's super helpful, because it makes you understand the context of why are they doing this project? Why are they doing the song? Like, what are you trying to say? And that helps you identify the headspace that they want to get to perform the song. So I think it's very important to do that as well, to get in the right
It's super important. I understand those deeply, but it took me years to get there. You guys are way ahead of the game, if you ask me personally. Like, trust. Because when you put somebody in the booth, it's almost like you put them under a microscope. I've seen people really get really scared, when they hear their voice on a condenser microphone for the first time. Like, oh my gosh, they can hear all my flaws. But yeah, I always say when you put them in the booth, you want to tear down the wall, just with comfort if you can, because singing is a very vulnerable act. You have to be vulnerable if you want to connect to people, and you have to make people comfortable being vulnerable in front of other folks. So.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, I like to tell, like you just said, one of the biggest things that I learned, because I was vocal coached for 2 years by an incredible vocal coach, and I loved his vocal style. I loved the way that he approached me. He was more technical than personable, and it's always good. That's good in certain cases. But one thing that I learned, I was like, I end up leaving. I understand the curriculum, but I end up leaving like I got to be perfect. And sometimes having that it can break you as an artist. It can almost make you feel like there's no room for imperfectness. But like I know, Kendall, like back in the day when it comes to like the 80s and 90s, 70s, it was all about imperfections we heard that made us love it. Like, I love listening to Stevie Wonder, and I loved hearing the note he did not really get, but you felt the feeling, and it made it perfect to me.
Absolutely.
Luther Vandross, we have a lot of them that did that. So I like to bring that into the Vocal Loft, where, like you said, when I get them in there, I'm like, let's break down every wall. I'm not here to ask you to be perfect. It is actually it is different layers of imperfectionness that make something perfect.
Absolutely.
It is not you don't have to be perfect. So it it takes, like you said, it takes the microscope off of them and making them feel like I gotta have a perfect performance. I'm like, I just want you to live in it. That's all I'm asking you to do is live in it.
Conviction.
Present.
Conviction, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
can't change anybody's attitude. It's called auto-tune, not auto-tune. So,
That's good. That's good. Yeah, 100%.
man, that's man. Sounds like you guys are doing some great work here. Some great work. I'm sitting here. I'm kind of like beaming with a big smile here because you guys are speaking my language. Like, this is my thing. This is what I do. My wife is a vocalist, and we talk about this stuff all the time. So, man, just to see that you guys are at it so young is really hitting me hard there. I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing that. So where are you guys based? You guys are spread out and based in different areas?
Ivana, you gonna tell me?
You can go ahead. So we're spread all over. So right now our team is multi-city. So Ty is in Orlando. I'm in the Dominican Republic, and I go sometimes back and forth here in Miami. Our engineer is in Miami, right? And our producer is in San Antonio, Texas. So we were kind of spread out right now. And as Ty said at the beginning, we're doing kind of a team building and relaunching of the Vocal Loft next year. And we're very excited because, again, expanding the team doesn't only mean having more people joining the mission and joining the project, but it also means more services and a bigger capacity for us to guide artists in a 360 way. Because the more people that we have, the more perspectives we have for different artists with different needs and different goals within their artist project and within their what they want to do with their career. Whether they want to do a specific song, or they're preparing for a live show, or they just want to produce the song, or they need a full-on arrangement, or they need a full-on guiding with the vocal coaching and the vocal production and everything. Having a bigger team allows us to do that. So to meet artists on their different career levels, basically.
Do you guys ever get together and meet up? I know you guys multi-city, but do you ever meet up in one place every once in a while?
So we actually met up for our first workshop at Full Sail. And me and Ivana got together. When it comes to, so 3 of us out of the Vocal Loft, Ivana, me, and also the producer, we all went to Full Sail. He graduated from music production as well. One of them is Miami. He went to a school there. But the producer, he's my best friend. He's my right-hand man. So we done already, kind of built that for 4 to 5 years together. And then with me and Ivana, we've always, we've had like a couple of times we've been here together, but the biggest one was the workshop that recently happened this year.
Yeah, back in April.
We're gonna do more. Yeah, we're gonna try to do more. So.
And then, Ty, you mentioned working with some studios. Do you work with some studios around the area, around the Orlando area?
Yes, so actually right now I work at a few. Some was in Miami, but I work solely with Plush right now.
Okay.
One, because I love Plush, just the environment there. My boy Ed is amazing, and then I love the booth. I love it, and I love they have a piano, so I go right with the artist and I play in there with them.
The wood room.
To the booth.
Some of the wood room.
That's right. Yeah. Wood room. Oh yeah.
I'm familiar with Plush.
Yes, sir. So the wood room is really great. So yeah, I actually did a little bit of campaigns with one of the artists he was working with. I went through the whole album with them and produced, wrote backgrounds. They just put anything that was needed. We did like a partnership. So that is something that we are going to continuously go forward with next year as well.
Cool. So talking about y'all's education career here at Full Sail, Ivana, you say you are a music production graduate?
Yeah, graduated back in March of 2023. Yeah.
Okay, and
online actually, because I graduated school on the pandemic, so I had a hard time finding schools that would have an online program. I didn't know what I wanted to study yet. I've studied music my whole life, vocal training since I was 5 years old. So I was trying to look for a career that would give me a little bit more on the technical side of it. Rather than the performance, and I found Full Sail, and I saw that they had their online program for over 10 years back in 2020. Now it's obviously more, and I really fell in love with the program, and I was able to go to Winter Park a couple times, one of those for over a month, and I was able to participate in a lot of the student activities and events you guys had there, and obviously I went there for graduation. So
Gotcha. And Ty, you are recording arts?
recording arts. Funny thing, I started as music production and learned that that was not what I was supposed to be in because I already knew music production. And it was at first, I think everybody went through it. It was funny. A lot of us when we first got there had it, you know, kind of confused. We thought that recording arts did what music production did what recording arts did. So a lot of us had to switch in the beginning class. But I was music production, did that for 6 months, and then was finally able to switch over to recording arts, and then I did recording arts.
Okay. Good. I mean, this is the first time I ever interviewed alumni like this, and man, I'm telling you, you guys are knocking it out of the park, man. I might have to do this a little bit more often. Like I said,
each other's architects, man.
Yeah. Not to mention that I just really love to hear students who have created opportunities for themselves. So it's just it's a treat for me.
Yeah, and we appreciate that a lot. I've always said this both when we had the workshop back in April and with Ty personally. I say this all the time. When I graduated, I was unemployed for over 6 months. So I applied to a lot of internships, a lot of entry-level jobs, both music-related and not music-related. And I was a little bummed out. I felt that that I was a little lost and I wasn't able to find what career path I was going to be able to fulfill with my education so far, because I felt prepared. I knew that I had the knowledge, I had the skills on a lot of different aspects and a lot of different levels, but I wasn't finding the right spot or the right space that could, you know, give me the opportunity for me to be able to showcase my skills or showcase what I could do and then grow from there. Because I knew that once you get out of college, you're not going to get the highest position or role level ever. I wanted to start from the bottom, but I wasn't even able to find that. And it was very frustrating. And I know it's a universal experience for a lot of students and a lot of graduates. And I always share this with no filter at all, because I know it's a reality. And a couple months after, 6 months after I graduated, I started sharing more time with some colleagues back in DR, and they're musicians as well, and they were asking me to vocal coach a couple of them for some songs and do vocal arrangements. And I kind of realized that, well, if the opportunity is not going to come to me, maybe I should create an opportunity for myself. And then back in January of last year, I started independently vocal coaching, and I've had over 30 students. Wow. I work a little differently from Ty here in the DR. It's very like pinpoint. Like I sometimes have vocal coached artists for just a specific amount of sessions for the purpose or the goal that they have. But still, artists from different levels, people who just wanted to learn how to sing. I started with that, and that kind of allowed me to understand how to teach different types of people with different types of personalities and skills and levels and just overall approach, because we sometimes speak in a very technical way, and this applies a lot to also vocal coaching. And if you're a vocal producer or recording engineer as well, sometimes the artist is not going to be able to speak the same technical language as you. And you need to get that very, very ingrained into your head, because it's hard, because we as, people who are in the industry, we know how to speak our same language, but sometimes the artist is not going to get that, and you need to speak in more basic terms, not basic terms, but you have to see how they communicate so you can communicate the same way that they do, so they understand what you're asking of them. Or if you want them to interpret a phrase a certain way, or perform, do this or do that, you have to see. So you have to understand what they're trying to say so you can say it back, and kind of understand how they understand what you're trying to communicate within the session or when you're working with them. So in other words,
you have to be flexible and personable.
Yeah, definitely. And that's part of what we were saying earlier, of having communication from the start, breaking down the barriers. It gets a lot of part of the job done way ahead, way before you get to the actual session. That's a big part of making a successful and effective session. So just concluding with the other thing that I was saying. So I learned to speak a lot of different ways and approaches, and saw how different people receive different feedback and how they understand it in a way of explanation wise. So after that, I started collaborating and working and learning a little bit more about the actual vocal production, the tuning, understanding the role of the vocal producer within a session. I didn't actually knew that was a role that existed. I actually learned it with Ty and a vocal producer that I love a lot, which is her name is Simone Torres. She's an engineer as well. I had the pleasure of taking a Melodyne course that she gave a couple of weeks ago, and I learned a lot from her. And her approach is very similar to the way that I do things now. Way before I met her, obviously, but it's the same thing we were saying. It's the approach, is the way that you communicate with the singer and the artist, doing it personably, doing it in a way that it's human, and that they can understand that you're not there to instruct them what to do. You're there to guide them and be with them in the process. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit of what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, key word being human, right?
Being human, it's part of the process, and it gets the job done, because if they feel like you're in a kind of like a superiority position, it's gonna, again, close down those walls that are gonna prevent them from fully opening up and expressing themselves, and just giving up what they know they are able to do within the session.
Gotcha. So you're saying pretty much like what you guys are doing is you're getting vocalists to really engage into a trust exercise, if anything, right?
Yeah,
I call it
basically.
like ministry before music, right? Like I'm faith-based, right? We both are. Not against anybody, you know, but so a lot of those, the morale of you know, our Father, right? You know, that's what I love to put in. Because I love to like kind of integrate that into the Vocal Loft, because that's my foundation. I don't think it'll ever move the way I need it to if he's not in the center. That's one. But the first thing is that no one cares about your technicality if they do not feel like you care about them. That's one thing I learned, is that we don't care about what you know.
Say that one more time, please. Say that again.
I got you. Nobody cares about your technicality unless they know that you care about them. And that's a big thing that I want anyone who hears this to really, really take into account, is because one thing that we have lost in this industry is care. That's something that lacks a lot, that people don't feel. And that's what I've known. That's the whole reason why the Vocal Loft was even created, was because I started to see a lack of people feeling like they were cared about. It just felt like it was like, hey, I pay you the money, I'm here to do this. Everybody felt like a machine. Everybody felt like it was just, I'm just ready to get to where I need to be. I'm just leeching off of you to get to another place. Everything felt transactional. And I was like, I want something that feels like we're getting back to the core of what artist development, like you said, Kendall, how it felt before. Like, I'm gonna do 3 to 4 years with you so we can get you to where you need to be before we spit you out. Not the other way around, where we just spit you out and make you figure it out all by yourself. And now you're growing in public eye, messing up, you know, era. I don't want anyone to go through that. Things that I had to be burned with, because sometimes when we burn forever. And I was burned a lot. I was burned in the studio by a lot of people, not knowing the language, not knowing how to communicate. And I had to learn those things after that. So my mission was that if I can save anybody from going through that, if I can make the standard this, then they have a little bit more of not only integrity, but a confidence when they go into any other room. And that's just what it was for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think the worst thing, the one thing that's worse than a singer believing that they're going to walk into the booth and sing it one time and go home, is somebody who's calling themselves a producer expecting exactly the same thing, right?
It's a lot of trial and error, and sometimes, and that's why we were saying you have to prepare the session. But I'm not talking in like a technical sense of, you know, setting out everything, the workflow, the layout. That's standard and that's technical. But I'm talking about preparing the actual space for the session, preparing yourself to understand this person, to know this person, to know their feelings, to understand why are they doing this? Why do they want to go on this journey and this process of making this project a reality? So I think that is very important. And just re-emphasizing what I said earlier, staying human despite our experience, despite us maybe knowing more or less than the person who is working with us. That is extremely important, because we have to stay humble within this industry. We can't believe that we know everything. And even if we have the skills and the knowledge and, you know, years of having worked trial and error, and we're building this project of the Vocal Loft together, that doesn't give us the right to put ourselves on top of anyone and believe that we have the absolute knowledge. Quite the contrary. I think this is an opportunity not just for us to, open doors for people who want us to guide them, but for us to learn from people who are way ahead of us and that could guide us and make us an even better project and an even better team, basically.
That's for artist by artist. That's why the motto is what it is. It's not, we guide the artists. It's for artists by artists. We're both artists. As I am teaching the things that God has instilled in me and the things that I have learned from professionals, I am also learning from you. So I'm going to learn something new in that session with you that I did not know. You are going to teach me things just as much as you're going to learn from me. And that's how things need to go. That's how the flow needs to happen. So.
And I remember hearing in the beginning, I think Ty, you was talking about, allowing the artist to be an architect in the whole process, right? It's like selling ownership to the actual artist so they can feel like they not just went in the booth and sang, but also contributed to the end product of whatever it is we're trying to achieve. Yeah.
Exactly. I always tell the artists, I'm like, some don't want to. I've noticed that some artists they have gotten so ingrained with hey, I'ma sing this. Hey brother, y'all mix it, figure out what it needs to be, y'all structure it. But I always try to encourage them. I want you guys to be like how Michael was when it came to Quincy. I want you guys to be like how there's a reason why Michael is as great as he was in the industry. He was an architect of everything, not one. So he lived as the performer. He lived as also the producer. He lived in the mixing. He was there going through takes and comps, 1,000 of them. So they just realized that it was the second and the third one that was the right one.
Oh yeah, the story about Billie Jean. Yeah.
So funny,
99 mixes total, and the second mix is the one that the one where he said where he told Bruce Sweetie and to turn up the bass. That was it, right? That was the second mix. I got
what I'm saying. And it's but that's what I encourage, because one thing that I learned is that when you experience that for the first time, it does not mean that you go into rooms and you're trying to be a part, you're trying to just be above everybody, but it is something about being an architect of everything to where you can speak every language of every role. It doesn't mean that you are mixing the project, but you're co-mixing it. And there's a difference. You can hear it in people's music when they have had their hands a part of everything. Steer it. We have the power to do so. Don't just stop at being the artist, just getting your vocals and then letting people just do whatever they need to do with it. Be a part of everything. Have something to say. You are the architect.
Yeah.
I'll piggyback from that. I have my own artistic project as well, and Ty has his as well. And we actually collaborated together in one of his songs. He invited me to do backing vocals and harmonies for that. And I'm going to piggyback and emphasize that because it's very important to be involved in a role other than your own. Because I was, in this case, the backing vocalist, but I was involved in the arrangement, in the ways that we were going to make the song work with the arrangement, not only with the initial harmonies that he wanted me to do, but I kind of brainstormed where else I could fit within the song to make it better. Not better because the song was already great, but better in the sense of how it could help the arrangement, how it could push what the song was trying to say, both technically and emotionally. And further than that, I was involved as well in the mixing process. We worked on it together with Ty's mixing engineer, and we sent revision notes, and we together sent references of how we wanted it to sound. And he sent, we want the lead vocals to sound like this, the backing vocals to sound like, I think you sent like a Mooney song or something, and very specific adjectives and sonic references on what he wanted to hear for both his vocals and my vocals, and the overall mix. And then when we got the mix, we sent her revisions with time codes of what we wanted to get changed on specific parts of the song, of specific elements. Like, hey, let's raise the bass here, or this harmony, let's bring the lows a little bit further than the high ones, or let's take a little bit of the EQ on the mid frequency so it can sound a little bit cleaner, or let's reduce a little bit of the distortion, saturation, like technical things with the time code organized within sections. Like, here are the notes for the chorus, here are the notes for the bridge, here are the notes for the second verse. and so and so and so in an organized way so that she can understand it. We obviously, she's going to know what she's going to do when she gets to the session in a more technical aspect because that's her role. But we wanted to kind of help her make her job easier, us communicating with her specifically on what we wanted to get changed. Not just, oh, I think the backing vocals are a little bit too distorted, like let's change that. But we're not specifying if it's the whole harmonies or if it's just maybe like a 5 seconds within the song that we're hearing that. So we need to specify that and we need to be specific. So I think getting involved within the whole process of song making is important. Whether you are the singer, whether you are the engineer, whether you are the producer, it's so important to be involved in a role that it's not your own. Not only to be able to communicate better with the person who is going to be the producer or the engineer, or the vocalist or the arranger, etc., but for you to understand what you want to do with your project. And if you're working with other people, maybe you're not working with your regular producer, you're working with someone new, you're able to be involved in the process to make sure that the song that is getting produced fits your artistry and fits your vision and fits what you're trying to build. If it's a whole body of work or if it's a specific song, but that it stays loyal to your vision and how you want to sound and how you want to be perceived, what you want to project with this. That is so important, and being involved is part of that. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
She said a mouthful.
Yeah, I hear a lot of passion from both of you guys. Do you guys, and this is something I like to do sometimes, but I want to ask you this. As far as having artists involved in the process, one thing I started to do, I say within the last few years, was after I record a session with an artist, I have them sit down and sit with me as I do the comp. And I noticed that really helps a lot of artists to understand and become more comfortable with their performances because they actually get to watch the comping process and help make the decisions. You guys find yourself doing similar things?
Oh my gosh, it's so I literally actually did this last week with another artist. We went through the whole entire comp, and what it ends up doing is, like we said, like I always the architect. You start to see their mind change right then and there. It's like you said, like they go from being a singer and being like, oh, I want to do music, to being like, oh wow, I want everything to do with this. Like, wow, the way that you took this syllable and this breath and put it here, and the way that this take and this take. It's like, and then also a lot of us deal with not having artist discipline. What that means is that for us, a lot of times we sit here and we don't know what sounds good. We don't know what we were looking for. So we have a session that is about 5 hours, and we're only working on, we're only on the verse, and we have not gone through the song because we don't know the discipline of what to listen or what to hear for. So as you comp with an artist, they start to understand what they're looking for. They start to understand their voice as an instrument as well, and it just helps everything. It's one of my favorite.
Totally agree there. Yeah, totally. I've had both experiences. So since I work in a city far away from the usual people that I usually have worked with, whether it's for my own project or for other artists' project, I tend to do the comping by myself, but I have been in the position of either being the artist who is assisting my engineer doing the comping, because I love editing, I love vocal comping. Ty can corroborate that. I love that. But there are scenarios where it's not possible because maybe the team is divided on different cities and maybe you have a deadline, or maybe you're just not able to meet in person. So you have two options here, whether you connect remotely through Discord. There are a lot of platforms that allow producers, engineers, the vocalists, the artists to connect virtually for them to see the session and hear the session. So that's an option. But if you have to do the work by yourself, which I have had to do sometimes, it's, I think, something that helps to maintain that kind of involvement is doing and building a profile for the artist, for how they want to sound. Again, repeating the same thing we've gone over the entire conversation. Understanding how they want to sound like, who are their influencers or their inspirations in terms of performance. What is the intention of the lyrical content of the song? What do they want to say? What is the emotion? What is the mood of the song? What is the style? So you have a stylistic approach there. So all of those things helps me build kind of a profile of not just the artist, but how the song needs to sound. And that helps me choose the takes, whether it's with the enunciation, the emotion. Obviously, if it's naturally tuned, it's way better than doing the work on Melodyne or auto-tune. So if I have like a correctly sounding take, I'm going to choose that over anything. But there's a lot of factors and a lot of elements that I take into account with that process. But building this kind of profile helps a lot, because then you have this idea of how the song should sound, and that helps on doing the comping if you have to do it by yourself. Obviously, ideally is involving the artist on that process, or in my case of being the artist and editing the vocals by myself, then I'm the two people at once. But if that's not the case, then that helps a lot on keeping them involved and keeping their vision present within that comping process.
Definitely.
What is, I'm asking you guys this question individually, what is your DAW of choice for, I would say, vocal editing and or comping?
I would say mine it's been Logic. I just love the way I flow within Logic. I will always say Pro Tools is so efficient when it comes to vocals. Anybody who produces in there, my heart goes out to you. I don't know how you do it, but when it comes to Pro Tools, as far as vocals, I toggle between both. So I'll do sessions in Pro Tools, and then I'll also go to Logic. But Logic, I almost do everything and produce, comp, record everything. I just feel like I love that DAW of choice. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it's more of a familiarity thing. Like, I started on Logic and I stayed on Logic, but if I have to go on Pro Tools, I love vocal comping on Pro Tools and tuning as well. I learned to tune with Melodyne through ARA mode on Pro Tools, and it's so effective because you don't have to wait for the song to load within the plugin. You can just work directly and do the whole clip because it's clip based. So I really love tuning there, but if I do so, I do on Logic if it's like a quick thing or it doesn't have like that much difficulty in terms of editing or tuning. But yeah, I love Logic, and I love Ableton too. It's very visually accessible, but I work mostly on Logic. Yeah.
Okay. Would you guys like to, I don't know, just give everybody your information or socials or anything that people can actually find you guys real quick before we wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Ivana, you can go first if you want to.
Yeah, well, my individual profile is Ivana Loyola Music, so IVANA Music at the end. And you can find me on Spotify and other digital platforms as well as Ivana Loyola. And then Ty has his socials, and obviously the Vocal Loft has its socials as well.
Yeah, so with me, as my artist account, it is Alexa Play Tyonne. Tyonne is spelled Alexa, Alexa, Play, Play. Tyonne is spelled Tyon. That is my actual Instagram. And then the Vocal Loft, our handle is the vocal.loft. So both of those, if you want to listen to my music, you can find that on my profile. It has a link there as well. But yeah, that's mine also.
Yeah, I think I can share quickly. Funny thing, we had a presentation for this, and we ended up doing this very pleasant conversation that flowed. But I'm just going to share this really quickly, just so everyone can see the tag here and our email in case you want to contact.
Sweet, great, even better.
Yep. And if you have a code, we have a QR code at the end.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it real quick.
I believe it still works.
Right.
Okay, there it is. Okay, great. You guys are really prepared.
But
we did.
Kendall, because that's also the thing about readiness is that like Ivana said, we had this whole presentation. We already had the script of who taught and who transitioned.
Yeah.
Come here and you give us a more personable experience that I love so much. Where it's free form, it's talking about experience, and I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I mean, we're speaking the same language. Like I said, I do a lot of the things you guys are talking about, and it was just like I'm just talking I'm collaborating, So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely loved it. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up here, and I would like to thank you guys for coming through and just having this moment with us, and hopefully you guys will come back and have this moment with us again. That'll be so cool.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for having us and giving us the space not only to talk about our experiences and not only in the professional aspect, but in the personal aspect, navigating this career and this mission that we both have, both individually and with the Vocal Loft, and allowing us to talk a little bit more about what we're doing here.
All right. Thank you so much. As far as the audio production town hall meeting is concerned, I would like to thank everybody for joining us. We'd like to give a big shout out to the show production students of the Audiovisual Technologies course and their instructor, John Koss there. Appreciate you guys for putting this on for us and getting everything all set up for us. We'd like to remind everybody that these audio production town hall meetings are monthly, every fourth Monday of the academic month. You can always find us here talking about all kinds of fun things like you just heard here today, from software to techniques to gear and anything in between. Once again, my name is Kendall Benz. I'm the course director for Advanced Audio Editing Techniques, and thank you guys for being here with us today. And thank you guys for being here.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.